Hello and welcome again to UCL Global Health. The problem of chronic diseases, heart attacks, strokes, diabetes remains a huge problem, not just in wealthy countries, but also in low and middle income countries. A new organisation, the Global Alliance for Chronic Diseases, was established a couple of years ago, and I'm joined by the Executive Director, Celina Gorre. Celina, what does the Global Alliance for Chronic Diseases do?
The Alliance is a member organization of the world's largest public funders of medical research. In the case of the UK, that's the Medical Research Council, the MRC. In the US, it's the National Institutes of Health, the NIH, and so on and so forth. And the exciting part of our membership really is that we have China and India and South Africa involved, and we aim to grow our membership in that direction in terms of getting more countries from the developing world engaged in collaboration on NCD research in low and middle income countries.
So why would the MRC of the UK or NIH in America be interested in funding work on diabetes in, say, Bangladesh?
I think it's the same reason that any other member would be participating in such a collaboration. It's that the money, the funding that they have available for global health research is very limited in the grand scheme of things. At the NIH, their budget is upwards of $30 billion a year, but what they spend on global health is a fraction of that. If 1% is probably an optimistic estimate. So what these agencies aim to do in this collaboration is to really leverage every bit of funding they have for global health. If we put it together in a pot of money, we can do a lot more with it.
Okay.
And so as opposed to spending $2 million a year on hypertension, for example, collectively we spend $22 million a year.
So you're new and you've already spent, you funded a call, I think, on hypertension.
Exactly.
$22 million.
$22 million, right? And that is 15 sites across the world, and 19 countries are sort of participating.
Give me an example or two of what you're funding.
Well, my favorite one, and I hope to visit it one day, is a salt reduction program in Fiji. It's the first of its kind in that country. There have been lots of attempts at salt reduction policy and programming in other countries, but in the Pacific Islands, it's sort of a groundbreaking effort.
Okay. Do you think the richer countries can actually learn from the poorer countries from some of this research?
You probably know this well, Anthony. There are lots of things that we learned from countries of the South, and we aim to do that as well in this collaboration. It's sort of fertile ground for learnings because resource-strapped countries are often much more innovative because they have to be. They don't have the resources and sort of the infrastructure to put in high-cost solutions to challenges. And so part of the exciting opportunities we have at the GACD is really to take learnings from resource-limited countries to sort of share them across
sort of reverse innovation.
Exactly.
So this is an absolutely massive problem. It's got a medical component, it's got a social component, it's got a whole issue of corporate regulation component, which we have discussed. What do you think, as an alliance of research funding, what do you think we can learn from other campaigns that have addressed similar very broad issues, for example, AIDS?
Well, I think that I used to do a lot of work in the area of HIV and AIDS, and one thing that made that work sort of streamlined and relatively successful, if we look at other campaigns, is that the message was clear and simple. There was a vector that we were trying to figure out how to stop. There was a solution, and so it was a matter of rolling out that solution. With NCDs, it's really fuzzy all the way around.
Right.
NCD, what is an NCD? And then what are the modes of prevention of that NCD? Yeah. The relationship is not one to one. So I think our challenge in this space is crystallizing the cause, the effect, and then what the modes are of prevention.
So you've done a big call on hypertension. What do you think will be the next subjects you're likely to want to fund?
Well, we have just recently announced that the next intention for the board of the Alliance will be to fund a call on diabetes.
Right.
So it's as we all know, it's a global epidemic and it's increasing rapidly. So that's what we're working on now. What I think will happen as we learn more and more about the different efforts around NCDs is that we will be shifting slowly but steadily, I think, towards sort of the behaviors and the risk factors that feed into the chronic diseases. I think of it as a tree in some ways, in the sense that the roots are these various risky behaviors that we all sort of partake in, and the eventual branches are these diseases. We're not sure which way you sprout, we're not sure if you go left into diabetes or right into heart disease, but there's an inevitability there the more roots you have. And so figuring out that relationship and figuring out how to stop the tree from growing, as it were, is I think the key challenge. And also figuring out all the comorbidities around the diseases that we talk about as NCDs at the moment will be important for us. And in particular, I'm thinking about mental health and how that
interacts with diabetes and heart attack. All right. Well, good luck. More money into global health, always very welcome. Celina, thank you very much.
Thank you.